from a 16-year-old girl out on her own in an unknown country, going against the norms of a patriarchal Indian society and pursuing her dream to study design in FIT New York, and meeting and learning from the greatest of all times, Mr. Calvin Klein himself, with whom she hoped to work with in future. And keeping that in back of her mind, she further moved ahead to do masters in business administration from the London School of Economics. And when I mention this, it almost sounds a dream that but her strong determination and passion of the brand of Calvin Klein made her the Calvin Klein's country head. So today, when I'm in conversation with her through this Business Nation TV video podcast, she has been already featured in the Forbes list of top 10 list of women entrepreneurs of India, and is the executive director of the Gujarat Law Society and the GLS University. And she's also the National Design Council president at WICCI, that is the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Among us today, we have none other than the aspirations of many upcoming entrepreneurs, Advocate Chandni Kapadia ji. A very warm welcome, ma'am, and thank you so much for joining on this platform today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Glad having you, ma'am. So as we move ahead in this podcast conversation, I'll just mention that you launched a Calvin Klein in India, and you have been featured in Forbes top 10 list of Indian women entrepreneurs, as I just mentioned. So what else do you look forward to achieve?
Well, there are many, many more milestones to go, honestly. Hopefully, this is just one of the beginning.
Right.
But I would like to start with... I would like to mention what you said, that I started at the age of 16, which is so very much true. I mean, when I went for my visa, I remember it is so clear in my mind even today. The gentleman there asked me, so what is it that you want to do? He probably expected an answer from me saying that I wanted to go into some engineering background or architecture or something like that. Right. And I am this, you can imagine, way down in 92, 93. Fashion design was not heard of for women in India.
Not so much prevalent, right?
Yes, absolutely. So when and I also knew, so brands were not known to Indians. So when I told him I want to work with Calvin Klein, he was taken aback, and he was like, how do you know of these things? I said, look, I have been, in the UK for a long, long time. That's where I belong to. And then I came back to India just for my graduation. And that was it. I mean, without asking me any further questions, he just handed it over to me. So okay. God has been very kind. And, things have just happened to me. Honestly, I have just worked and I have done what has been needed to do. And then things have just happened for me. I've never chased anything in life.
Okay, so it's not about what I believe is, as you've shared your journey, and I also mentioned initially, I don't think it is all about chasing, but it is the work you have put in, so much of effort you have put in, which has made you put in that kind of track, which you would not want to chase, but you're getting because of your hard work.
Yes.
Right. So, ma'am, when I'll just mention that when you are building from scratch, as you mentioned that when you were 16, when you went for your visa, right? So you were just building from scratch there.
Yes.
And
yes.
At the same time, there will be people who will be trying to walk you over. So according to your experience, what can help a young individual, help them sustain when they are at that same base point, at that same scratch level as you started initially?
Okay. I think the first thing that a young girl or a young guy, whoever it is, I think they need to be flexible. They need to remember the 2 Fs, which I always remembered. Be flexible and be firm. Know what you want. Today's generation have no problems in knowing what they want. But how to get there? The right way to get there is only through hard work. Yesterday, I might be a bit more relaxed. But look, even today, you and I are doing this during Diwali when everybody's enjoying. It's a Sunday. It's a Diwali time. But still, we are here. My colleagues from work, they are here to help me with other work, other things as well. So you need to be very, very flexible. Honestly, when I was 16 and I went for my first job, it was at JCPenney as an assistant merchandiser. although the job given title was an assistant merchandiser. But I wasn't doing any merchandising. For the first 3 months, all I did was make coffee. I'm genuinely
Okay.
saying all I did was make coffee for my merchandisers, for my designers. I had to build their trust in me. I had to let them know that I was there for them, that they could count on me. And
Definitely.
I was there to make a young Indian girl. Indians were not accepted in the fashion industry at the time.
Right,
uh,
right, right,
so
right.
so it was doubly hard. And I feel that if I could make it today, anybody could make it, because the world has changed today. People are more receptive. We as Indians are more widely accepted. In fact, people throw their arms open to us, but at
Absolutely.
that time it wasn't the case. So yeah, just be firm, be flexible, do but don't be stubborn. Learn to work in teamwork, but also learn to put your foot down. Especially for a woman, she needs to know that she cannot be pushed around. So that is one of the things that I would advise to the next generation, or to young women coming out there.
Okay. So, ma'am, as you just mentioned that initially there were not much doors open for the Indians back then in the 90s,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I believe that as you rightly have endorsed and also been an Asia Pacific head of the Calvin Klein, and I believe that you were the initial Indians who went out there in the fashion industry and have brought laurels for India, as well as you also launched Calvin Klein. And
Yes.
okay, so and you mentioned that today, when it is Diwali time, and many of the individuals or many of general public is just celebrating or relaxing at their homes, your colleagues and you as an entrepreneur, as a leader, along with your colleagues, is working. This is kind of a work which we are doing right now, right? So for
Yes.
the public, which
Yes.
can convey them a larger message to the society. So you are working as a leader, and your team is deeply indulged in your work. When you have called them on a Sunday, they're also working like that on a Sunday
Yes.
itself, right?
Yes, for
So
which I'm very grateful. And believe me, team is what makes a leader. If you
absolutely, ma'am.
develop, if your team is good, if you develop a team, but then you need to nurture them like that. And they're my
Okay.
family. So yes.
Yeah, that is a very big thing which you just mentioned, and that is just brings up to the next point, that there is a leader and then there is a boss. But when a
Yes.
business needs to be profitable, one needs a team with a visionary leader who looks
Yes.
to evolve the team rather than just give commands, right?
Yes.
So because what I believe from my limited experience is that an open conversation and communication with the team is the most powerful thing for a business
Yes.
to be profitable as well as to sustain in the long term, right?
Yes.
So, ma'am, I just like to ask that what, according to you, is that you would share on this, apart from just the flexibility part of things? What is your state? What is your state of mind on this?
Um, you rightly hit the bull's eye when you said that, you need your team support. You need to be flexible. You need to be a visionary leader for you to know where your business needs to go.
Right.
Because only you can tell what is going to be, what do you want from your business. You need to be able to tell what is going to happen 10 years from now, 20 years
Mhm.
from now. And you need to build accordingly. Also, you need to keep the people who work with you, their aims and their vision in mind also, because probably they want to be somewhere else, or what they think is completely different. So bouncing off of ideas from what they want. I could be a boss and just walk all over them, but that's not going to take me far in the long run. um,
Definitely, it
if
won't.
i
Right.
if I want them to be look at my dreams, I have to share these dreams with them. There has to be nurturing, there has to be counseling, there has to be equality. Honestly, I am not a boss for my colleagues. I am always their friend. Yes, when it needs, when things need to be set in place, then of course they have their boundaries. Every relationship has a boundary, whether it's
Mhm.
your family, whether it's, so there are boundaries, but at the same time they can walk in any time. And they can tell me, okay, Chandni, this is not right and this is right, and we need to work like this. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are going out there and doing a lot of things for me, which I am not probably doing now. I used to do that earlier, but I am not doing that now. So I think it's teamwork and it's hard work again for them, and just getting all of them together, having one common goal, having one vision and mission, you know, that is what honestly has made, and having fresh ideas. You know, uh, we all of us know that AI and IT is the, you know, next big thing, and without
Yeah.
that we are not going to be anywhere. Especially Corona has taught us that. Um, so of course, having a new fresh talent where people come with a new eye, that is what I keep incorporating in my business or in my university.
Okay. And ma'am, when we talk about the initial years, when we talk about before you came into the university as the executive director, right? So you have been the Asia Pacific head of Calvin Klein, and I'm sure that it was a very big position to be in, and that things wouldn't have been a cakewalk back then as well. And in fact,
Yeah.
as rightly shared by you through some of your information with me, that is in fact some legalities of the businesses
Yes.
back then, and the international laws also pushed you to get a lawyer's degree,
Yes.
right? So how, I'll just ask that, how from being an MBA from London School of Economics you were pushed to be a lawyer, and what made that happen back then?
I would like to take you a few years back
Hmm.
for this. So I was working in Debenhams in the UK. I
Okay.
was the area manager over there, and I was called upon. And you know, Debenhams is a um, big brand over there, and it is like a shopper's stop of India.
Okay.
Um, and I was called upon to, you know, look after Debenhams in India, to open Debenhams in India. And it was a huge task, honestly. And this is before Calvin Klein. And this is going back in 2004 or something like that. And when I first moved, you know, I was this person who was from the US, the UK, educated there, not knowing much. Honestly, as a woman, I had to go through a lot. I was called this Gori Mem, who didn't have a clue of what she was doing, because uh, people in India are so averse. And I was pretty young, you know, this is going back 15, 16 years. I was
Mhm.
younger. And to have a position like that and have people listen to you, to go and negotiate with, you know, I'm not going to take names, but to go and negotiate for your brand space, especially when you want 30,000 square foot store, 20,000 square foot store. It is not easy. And then to, you know, um, do discussions with the other people, your architects and things like that. And then there were government norms. I could do certain things. I could have certain facades. I couldn't do certain things. There was a lot of legalities involved, and
Mhm.
something that I couldn't get my head around to. And of course, I really respect the lawyer community here. But um, honestly, I did not get straight answers. Honestly, I did not get straight answers. um, I couldn't There were times when I would just be baffled by the Indian laws, which I personally think need a revamp in according to today's scenario. But of course I had to learn all of this, because I couldn't rely on uh, outsourcing lawyers, because A, they were so expensive, B, I couldn't get
Mhm.
enough time that I wanted from them, three, I would get different opinions from different lawyers, four, I did not have enough budget to keep paying those lawyers, because I had to build a business. And so what was the best thing that I could do? And I've always believed that to grow to another level, I mean, I had become the country head. What after next? There was something that I needed to do better besides opening profitable shops.
Mhm.
I needed to do something to get to a higher level. And so I ended up doing law. So, which, of course, which has helped me tremendously today in every
Okay.
aspect of my life. Yeah. So that's how my journey towards law came.
Okay. So, ma'am, I'll just ask that you mentioned that I'll just ask firstly that what is the time limit, time difference? When did you do MBA and when did you do law?
Good question. MBA I did in while I was working at Delta Trade.
Okay.
This was between 99 and 2001.
Okay.
And law, I did much recently, 10 years post that.
All right. And in that time gap, it is very difficult for anyone to adapt to the education again once they are out of it. So
Yes.
it is altogether a different level of determination towards the work you're doing, just to have the insight of a lawyer's mind and have to deal with all the laws internationally and Indian as well. Right.
Yeah.
And ma'am, along with that, I'll also mention that in the early 2000s, there was a lot of gender discrimination, be it in
Yes.
case of jobs, be it in case of any perspective you when you see it in the Indian society, right? And today the things are very much different. So what I believe the most difficult things our generous ladies have been doing for decades is running a house. That
Oh,
as
absolutely. Absolutely.
so in Hindi, I can say that ghar chalana is not an easy task for, and rationing and budgeting of an house. It is not at all an easy task. And I believe that no one can be a better business person or an entrepreneur than a woman. And,
I agree.
and right. So when we stand today in the 2021, a woman just stands today rubbing shoulders equally upfront with a man. So, according to your vast knowledge, being an Asia Pacific head, being an executive director of the Gujarat Law University, right? So, how would you emphasize on women having key roles and positions, be it in forming governments or in any organization as a leader of the pack?
You were so bang on when you say that nobody can be a better entrepreneur than a woman, because she runs her household every day. Budgeting, financing, and just juggling things between her husband and between her children.
Right.
I did face a lot of discrimination while in my career. It is still there. It is not as much, but even today, I do face it. Perhaps not at my university, but certainly at other places that I go, the other brands that I probably, counsel, or I am doing any consulting work. When you go out, or even in an everyday life, yes, there is. But what more can be good in a country where our PM is giving opportunities? Our PM, Shri Narendra Modi, is giving opportunities. We've never had so many cabinet ministers, women cabinet ministers, as we have today. Take our finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, or Ma'am Smriti Irani. These are just a few to name. And hopefully that our country just keeps moving forward to this. And women are key to man's life. What is a man without a woman? And vice versa. I am here today because of two important men in my life. One is my father, and of course, one is my mentor. Because without him, I wouldn't have been able to complete my law, Mr. Shri Sudhir Nanavati, the president of GLS University.
Okay.
And so, yeah, one cannot survive without the other. So man and woman are equal, I feel. But yes, women are a little bit higher, if I can be biased, than women, because I am all for women entrepreneurship, and I am also a mentor for a lot of women out there. So yes, there is no better time than now for a woman to go out there and do what is needed to be done.
Okay. So, ma'am, when we talk about leadership and when we talk about various generations, you belong to the in between the generation X and Y, right? So you are an evolving leader of the generation X. You have seen generation Y very closely. And in the upcoming future, I just like to ask that what do you see upholds in the future, and what advice will you give to the generation Z?
Actually, like I said before, we are all humans. Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z. It's just the circumstances that are different. The times are different. That was a different time. These are different times. But human nature will always be the same. It is it's never going to change. what the only difference I probably see from the generation past me, my father's generation, my mentor's generation, and the generation next, Gen Z, is the patience level.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have a lot of patience. They would wait. And today's generation have no patience whatsoever. They're very smart because the world is at their fingertips. They
Right.
know everything. But there is no patience. वो noodles चाहिए उनको तुरंत बस अभी पकाया अभी खाया और कुछ नहीं. So that is not right.
Right.
Everything else, they are brilliant. Knowledge बहुत है, बहुत smart है. They know what they want. Maybe at 16 I knew what I wanted because I was always a fashion person. But otherwise I wasn't that smart. Like how these people today, तो वो बच्चे phone उठाते हैं 3-4 साल के बच्चे. I am learning from them. They are picking up the phone and they know what to do.
Right.
So I think patience and just the commitment also. Commitment needs to be there in Gen Z. Otherwise, कोई फर्क नहीं है. They are all, it's going to be the same. सिर्फ generation gap होता है, thinking थोड़ा सा change होता है, बाकी तो it's all good.
Okay, and ma'am, when you particularly mentioned about patience, why I will also relate to that is because patience मैं क्यों मानता हूँ कि कम हो चुका है, क्योंकि everything is now available at a click of button.
Absolutely.
And if anything is not happening in life at that point of time at click of a button, so that behavior, human nature becomes impatient. क्योंकि वो चीज जो अब हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि हमें एक चीज में कोई चीज हमें चाहिए तो वो हमें सर्च करके कहीं ना कहीं से मिल जाएगी. इफ दैट थिंग इज पर्टिकुलरली नॉट हैपनिंग इन लाइफ, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली जनरेशन गैप भी कह सकते हैं, पेशेंस लेवल ऑटोमेटिकली इसी कारण कम हो चुका है. बट आई कैन सी फ्रॉम माय पर्सपेक्टिव.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Right. So, ma'am, you have almost 2 decades of experience as an entrepreneur, as a leader, and as an Asia Pacific head. Now you're the executive director of the university. So I'll just like to ask that about the future. Like, where do you see your entrepreneurial journey 2 years down the line? And what are your future plans? Because from your diverse intellectual and the intriguing profile which we have just shared through this podcast, I do not see you settling for anything less anytime soon.
You are absolutely right. I'm not going to settle because dust settles. I don't want to be dust.
Definitely.
I want to grow. But now I think I've achieved enough in life as far as, money is not everything. I've got all the recognitions possible, Indian Achievers, recognition from the UN, Government of India. But yes, I one day hope to get some award from our PM because I just feel what he has done for women, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, all of those things are phenomenal. So yes, hopefully one day I wish to receive some recognition from him. Other than that, honestly, now I want to give back to the society. And that's why I agreed to be the president of Wiki Design Council, where everything that I do is honorary. I am supporting women in their businesses. I mentor them. And of course, I'm also a director in Rotary, where I'm looking to give back. We are helping people, especially we helped a lot in Corona. I'm also associated with 2 NGOs. I work for welfare of animals. So now it's all about that, because when you have, when the society has given you so much, when people have recognized you, people have given you your due share of honor and respect, I think it's my time to give back now. But yes, there are certain aspirations for me as well, like I said, and I just intend to keep growing and keep learning, because every day you learn, and that learning hasn't stopped, and I never want it to stop. Yes, I want to learn all the good lessons. I've learned from the bad lessons. I would want to learn more lessons, but hopefully which are only good and bring a smile to my face and everybody else's face.
That is wonderful way of thinking, ma'am. I'll just ask that, keeping all the achievements aside, keeping all your achievements aside, if the position are you in today, are you happy about that?
Yes, of course. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy.
Okay. And when you go to sleep tonight to bed, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think about the next day coming up, what you will do, or what is your thought? Or do you just resonate what happened all through the day and what you will do the next day?
Honestly, I don't like to think what I'm going to do tomorrow. But
Okay.
yes, when I go back home in the night, when I am in my bed, I certainly thank God for whatever has happened in the day, for bringing me back home safe, for keeping my family safe. And I also ask for forgiveness, because during the day you tend to have, you must have been rude, or I must have been
Mhm.
rude to someone. So that's where I ask for my forgiveness, and just a peaceful sleep at night. Because again, the next day is going to be heavier than probably usual, which at least I hope, because I never want to stop. I want to continue as far as I can go. And it's not only in the material world, even in the spiritual world, because I'm a very spiritual person. I may not be very religious, but I'm certainly
Mhm.
very spiritual. So yes, just thanking God at the end of the night and hoping for a better future.
Okay. Ma'am, it was a very wonderful podcast, and it was great to have such thoughtful words from a dynamic leader like you. And I will definitely, I'm definite about that. People will love this video podcast.